Hi, this is Tony, and we're back on the bench. And this evening, I wanted to do a special little video here talking about rusted screw heads. Okay, so this is a Mitchell spinning reel that I have yet to service, but as you can see, these screw heads here, they're heavily rusted, and judging just from the overall condition of this reel, it's not in the best shape, and it definitely shows signs of abuse and just not really being cared for. But these screw heads here are in really, really bad shape. You can see they're all brown and rusted out. So quick tip, you can see here on the handle screw, it's just heavily pitted and rusted. Okay, so the tip in this video is don't go grabbing the screwdriver and try to take these screw heads out right away, all right? Because what you're going to run the risk of is camming out those screw heads, and then they're going to snap off, and then you're going to end up having to drill out the whole rest of the screw, which will create a ton of work for you, and it's not going to be fun. So what I recommend you do is take some penetrating oil like this liquid wrench, or if you got some WD-40 kicking around, that's fine, or CRC Power Lube, or Seafoam Deep Creep. Any of those products are fine, all right? But you want to spray some penetrating fluid on these screws, and you want to let it sink in just a little bit, okay, before you go attempting to take these out, okay? And you don't know, when you're working on used reels, you don't know what's underneath the screw head too. It could be all the threads are entirely rusted going all the way down the whole length of the screw. Okay, so all you want to do is you just want to apply a little bit of this penetrating fluid in there on these screw heads, like so, and you really want that to work its way in there, okay? And just let it sink on down, okay? And what we're going to do is I'm going to pause the video for a few minutes, and we're going to come back, and then we're going to clean off those screw heads here with this toothbrush after that's had a chance to penetrate. And we're going to see how difficult it is to actually remove a couple of those screws. Okay, so we're back now. It's been about 15 minutes or so. We've let this penetrating fluid kind of sink in here to these screws, and so we're just going to take our toothbrush here and we're just going to kind of scrub on top here of these screw heads. You don't want to use a wire brush when you're doing this if you can avoid it, because it'll affect the paint finish on your reel, and you don't want that. But we just want to penetrate these surfaces here the best that we can with some of that penetrating oil, okay, like so, before you attempt to remove any of them, okay? Don't be afraid to apply a couple of extra applications of penetrating oil. The longer it sits, the better off you are, okay? And, I've had some situations where I've had to wait hours, even days, for things to basically free up when they're just heavily seized. All right, I don't think that's going to be the case here necessarily, but we want to, make sure that we don't run any risk of camming any of these out. So as you can see, I'm removing this screw here quite easily now with the help of that penetrating oil. Okay, so we're just going to have a look here real quick. All right, so the threads on this screw are totally fine. There's nothing wrong with these threads at all, but the head is very rusted, and it's a little difficult to see here on camera, but there's just a lot of browning and a lot of pitting here on this screw head. Okay, so that's basically the tip for today is use some good penetrating oil, and take the time to let it sit, let it sink in, let it do its job. That's why they call it penetrating fluid. All right, and let it really sink down in there before you go attempting to remove those screws, so that you don't cam the heads out. Okay, so thanks again for watching. This is Tony with Back on the Bench. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe and make sure you hit that notification button, and we'll see you next time.